Carnell, welcome to the podcast.
John, thanks for having me.
So how have you been? You staying safe, healthy?
I've been staying safe and healthy, as much as we can at this point, and just trying to stay abreast of the restrictions and safety measures, and doing that, being an example for everybody else. So it's working out so far.
So are you at home right now? You got a nice little setup there.
I am at home right now. Yeah, I end up on a lot of calls, so I want to make sure that I present well, and I'm glad you picked that up.
So you just became vice president of the Chicago chapter for RIMS, correct?
I did. Just recently, we had a change in leadership. Our chapter president, Liz Walker, moved on and was unable to continue her tenure. And thankfully, our vice president at that time, Teresa Severson, was able to step up and assume the role. And I backfilled her, so the opportunity to be vice president of our chapter.
Well, that's exciting. So what's your professional background?
So I am the risk programs manager with Interpark Holdings, LLC. And we are a owner-operator of parking equipment, garages, and also off-airport parking. We have 25 million square feet of property under management, 160, give or take, shuttle buses and company vehicles, and 700 employees. So I started with Interpark back in 2005 and started as a regional claims manager in DC, and took a EHS coordinator role at our corporate office here in Chicago in 2007. Took on a portfolio of garages for a number of years and was the operations manager there. And since 2013 have been the risk leader for our organization. So a lot of responsibility and a lot of knowledge around our operations here professionally, and that's boded well for our risk practices.
So when and how did you become involved with the Chicago chapter of RIMS?
So actually, I was introduced to RIMS through a networking lunch meeting with my broker from insurance agency, Sue Myers, and Jason Mezek, former chapter president, current treasurer, and just overall kind of Chicago RIMS rock star. And he actually introduced me to the organization. I mentioned to my broker that I was looking for a risk professional association to get involved with, and RIMS was naturally her first kind of suggestion there. So I attended events for a couple of events that year, and got a chance to actually attend RIMS in San Antonio, where my eyes were really kind of open to the reach of the organization, and just had me more interested in how to be more involved in what we had going on here locally. So through all that interaction, I've had the opportunity to familiarize myself with the board at that time, and now the current Chicago board, just seeing their enthusiasm around the risk community here in Chicago, and kind of the close-knit nature that it has. Was really continued to be enthused, and eventually got the opportunity to submit for a direct position in 2018. So I've been involved since then, and looking forward to continuing to be.
What's the goal or mission of Chicago RIMS, or the chapter of Chicago?
So chapter goals, basically, primarily to support our national goals, just to be the premier risk and insurance management professional organization for our members, and to want to continue to promote health and safety, and just additional, financial risk and risk management generally through the discipline, and also looking to always serve the needs of our members, attract new and current or more diverse members into our organization. Big push there in a lot of acumen, and feel like there's a lot of opportunity for those practices here in Chicago and nationally. But just, again, having kind of the understanding of what our membership is going to be wanting, helping to promote their professional development, educational opportunities, and the real kind of bread and butter that we have for value of membership is the network of professionals that we have here locally, and it's a really broad-reaching network.
The Chicago chapter is the largest RIMS chapter in the world, or at least it was last month when I checked. So I don't know if that changed, but can you elaborate? So can you elaborate on how that came to be?
Sure. So we're aware we have a um, large number of risk management professionals and organizations here in the Chicagoland area. Many brokers and carriers, obviously service vendors, all have major interactions here in the city, major hubs and major offices. So it gives us a real opportunity to be able to engage that membership. Also understanding that the Chicagoland risk community is, we are pretty, I would say, confined in the space of our operations, centered in downtown or some north or western suburbs. But really, just that community has continued to communicate over time and continue to engage new members like myself at one time and look to continue to bring us in. So that is, I'm sure happening in a lot of other chapters around the country and around the world. But just know that we have a really kind of central mass of risk professionals here that continue to be engaged with us. So thankfully for that.
Last month, Chicago Rims hosted a successful golf outing. In the middle of a pandemic, there were no issues, and it was actually one of the more successful golf outings that they've had. How does that make you as the vice president and the other board members feel, knowing that during these trying times, your members still came out in droves and supported this event?
Yeah, that was, that was amazing to see. And, you're anybody who's looked to plan any sort of, especially in-person event during COVID, you never really know kind of what your turnout is going to be. And we were really excited to see, I think we had over 130 participants at that particular golf outing. People wanted to get out. People wanted to engage with that network. And we were able to, I think, provide some forward communication and just made it really prevalent, our safety practices and encouragement around social distancing in that event. So golf lends itself to that, thankfully, and our membership, saw that and came through in great numbers. So again, continue to be encouraged there and look for that same sort of level of engagement as we continue to have virtual activities to continue to engage membership. And when we can get back to more outdoor activities because of the weather or more in-person meetings just because of our COVID situation, we'll be looking forward to that also.
Rumor has it you were paired up with a real golf pro during the outing. Did you learn
Yeah, he hit a
anything
hole
from
in
him?
one.
A hole in one. It was a pretty crazy day out on the course. Don't know what happened. But so what are the benefits for a vendor like PhotoFax to be involved with your chapter?
So I think that our communication and involvement with our vendors, our vendors are integral to our continued finding solutions in the risk community. So we want to know who to engage when we have individual thoughts or issues or just things we want to roundtable and to, be a vendor like PhotoFax that's, involved in our RIMS chapter that, if we have surveillance needs, we know who to go to or a network to go to. If we have other needs and we have people kind of in-house working with us on different events, different sorts of initiatives. They may not necessarily be, purely business focused, but you get to build community that way and know who it is you want to engage. So also gives us opportunity to, where we can highlight and get some, potentially national focus there on what we're doing together as a vendor and as a chapter, just more opportunity to do that.
If I was a risk manager and I wasn't a part of your chapter yet, I was working in Chicago, what would be your pitch on why I should join the chapter?
Well, the biggest thing, again, that we have to our disposal is the breadth of our network. And to be engaged with that group is something that, gives a lot of resource and a lot of opportunity to learn about, individual insights on industry moves, different innovation throughout the industry, a lot of tech solutions that are becoming available, all sorts of things you may not necessarily be plugged into from your day-to-day or your individual sub-industry that you're working to support. So that broader kind of risk management knowledge gives us the opportunity to utilize more of those resources. A lot of us being risk managers end up being either a department of one or in a small department. And so to be able to have that bench strength that you may not necessarily have in-house is going to prove to be invaluable, I think.
How has the pandemic changed how the board operates right now?
So, like anybody else, a lot of Zoom interaction, a lot of online calls, meetings. We've always been pretty communicative via email and obviously enjoy the opportunity to get together and plan for the chapter, but conditions don't necessarily provide themselves to be able to do that in-house. So we just, we had a series of board meetings. The first of those was virtual. Last month or earlier this month, actually, we had the opportunity to have a board retreat where we had a hybrid setup, meaning, most of us meeting in person while maybe a third of our members dialed in virtually. So it gives the opportunity to continue the business of the chapter, even though, the pandemic is continuing to be a disruptor in each of our everyday lives.
If I'm interested in getting involved in your chapter, whether if I'm a risk manager or a vendor, how should I go about doing so?
So to be a member of the Chicago chapter, you would first need to be a member of National RIMS. And that is, whether you are signing up as an individual professional, an organizational member, an associate, being a vendor, just whatever kind of the case may be. So we want that tie to national. In your process of registering, you're asked to select a chapter that you would like to be a member of. So selecting the Chicago chapter at that point will then queue you up to you can be involved in our internal community here in Chicago and receive our communications and publications. If you're not necessarily, a member as of yet and want to know what the organization is doing and figuring it out, obviously going to rims.org to know what's going on nationally, but also to look at chicagorims.org, our local website, to see what we're doing locally. You can check into individual calendar events. So if you just want to engage in a couple of events and get your feel there, you can do that. Also, you want to sign up and be more involved in the chapter from that point, you can go to our individual website or through your national registration process and select individual committees that you might want to be involved in. We have committees serving the education community. We have committees that preside over membership, communication, individual programming and events, or our larger kind of flagship events also have their own subcommittees. So there are a lot of places for interested risk managers to get involved and even past the point of dues paying membership.
And I'd like to kind of give a suggestion that if you're watching this and you're interested in getting involved, but you're not sure what you want to do, you could always volunteer too, and just volunteer for a committee and just to help out for something. And they're more than welcome to take it. Like the golf committee, we had several volunteers that came and just helped set up and everything. So that's a good way to kind of get your feet wet too, if you're not really sure and you want to meet some people.
Yeah, and we always appreciate that help. I mean, with the things that we're trying to do, and obviously, having more value for our membership, we're going to need more hands to continue to provide those offerings. So appreciate any volunteers that we get.
So do you have any closing statements or remarks or something you want to talk about before we sign off here, Carnell?
Yeah, John. I mean, just generally, I'm in the seat here as vice president for officially about a month now, and just looking forward to continuing to serve as our chapter vice president through 2021. Really interested in what's going on nationally from an insurance and risk management perspective, and hope that translates to even more direction and action here locally. We want to continue to kind of coalesce our thoughts and continue to build the strength and knowledge base of that network. So looking forward to anything that I can do to continue to contribute to that. One of the larger national focuses that we have that I'm actually looking to clue in more on as the chair of our diversity and inclusion efforts is our D&I committee. RIMS is promoting that nationally with a council of diverse professionals from age, industry, and background. But we're looking to supplement that here locally and build that community out as well. So as things are being promoted locally, your individual businesses from a D&I perspective, Chicago RIMS would love to know what it is that you're doing here locally and hope to promote that in a way that continues to push best practices to industry partners and anybody looking to get more involved in their D&I practices. So understanding that, RIMS locally, we're a volunteer organization. We're not in the practice of hiring necessarily, so can't necessarily fix our issues that way, but want to highlight, again, those best practices and some of the struggles that some of our industry partners may have had, and hopefully to keep others who are looking to get into that sort of discipline out of those pitfalls. So I think that translates to a lot of our industry knowledge that we look to house and disseminate, and our D&I efforts are going to be very important for us moving forward and for the health of the industry, frankly. So just looking to coalesce a lot of our efforts around continuing our membership, making sure that our members continue to be engaged, and having a platform for our members to give us feedback if there are things that you're looking for that may not necessarily be offerings or things that you want to contribute to make sure they move closer to the top of a priority list around. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk through some of those thoughts, and looking forward to communicating with potential interested members, vendors, anybody wanting to get involved with the Chicago Rims community.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should do an annual episode or every 6 months, just to kind of see where you're at, what new things you guys are attacking, and just to kind of get the word out for whatever the issue is or whatever you're trying to accomplish during that time, because it changes. It's an ever revolving door with different issues and things going on in the world.
Absolutely, John. I'd appreciate that opportunity.
Well, Carnell, I appreciate you stopping by and talking with me today. I hope the family stays safe. I hope you stay safe and healthy. And I'm looking forward to when we can see each other again, so I can show you how I got that hole in one. It's not as hard as it looks.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're on, in my individual team or pair, don't show me if you're playing against me.
It sounds good. So, all right. Well, Carnell, you have a great day, and let's catch up on all these issues in 6 months.
Awesome, John. I appreciate it again.
All right. You have a good one.
You too.